like to acknowledge the traditional custodians on the land that we're meeting on today, the Gadigal people of the Eora Nation, and I pay my respects to elders past, present and emerging, and I extend that respect to any Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islanders here in the room today. My name's Andy Miller. I am one of the co-founders and the CEO at Heaps Normal, and I believe that play is the key to purpose-led business going mainstream. In the beginning, there was Pajama Boy. This is a picture of me traveling around the world in my pajamas. The guys pointing at me and laughing are a band called the Foo Fighters. And I didn't realize it at the time, but this moment of play was the first domino falling in a series of ever-diverging branches in my career that at times unexpectedly joined up again, that have led me here today, applying the principles of play to building a non-alcoholic beer company and changing drinking culture. So, on the one hand, a normal but unplayful approach to introducing non-alcoholic beer might go something like this. Hi, I'm from a non-alcoholic beer company. Did you know alcohol is a highly addictive poison that doctors have said there's no safe amount for us to consume? Our beers help you avoid the harms of alcohol consumption. Now I'd like you all to stand up for a brief demonstration on the Heaps Normal approach. Hi, I'm from Heaps Normal. We love beer, but we wanted to cut back a little, so we made a beer that tastes just as good without the alcohol. Want to play World Series Keepy Uppy with us? We're going to play for 1 minute.
Working from home, swear I won't procrastinate, but first, coffee with a mate, and then a quick skate, and then dress up my dog, same as I dress myself, and then pluck the stray pubes from my boobs. What is wrong with you? Getting on with the foreman, cause gee, he's a good bloke, taking pride in keeping my boots clean, and my high-vis is pristine. Open up my toolbox, that's where I keep my lunch. Rabbit food again? Nah, I don't mind that, that's alright. If you think that's kinda weird, if you think that's kinda odd, nah, it's all the same here, what's the difference? I reckon it's heaps normal. 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 Clipping my toenail, but don't get rid of it just yet, cause I'm ashamed to admit it, but I quite like to sniff it. And I'll often dunk my whole hand in a bowl of PVA, then once it's dry, peel it off, cause that's my self-care for the day.
Okay. Thanks for playing with us. We believe play-led business means experimenting, embracing the values of your community, and stretching outside your business, your core business. Producing and selling non-alc beer is what keeps the lights on at Heaps Normal. But since the beginning, we've put most of our energy into the stuff that goes well beyond making beer. We exist to change drinking culture, but like a lot of people in this room, we care deeply about contributing to the other challenges in the world that and see business as a vehicle for positive change. This led us to commit 2% of all revenue to grassroots environmental and social causes that we care about. That's about $1 from every case sold, and a donation that is calculated before any profits. Experimenting is also a means, experimenting means not every action is a grand gesture. By a show of spirit fingers, who in this room has purchased a Heaps Normal beer before? Wow. Thanks to you, Heaps Normal has donated just a little under $500,000 to grassroots environmental and social charities in the last 3 years. My emojis didn't work. But when we think about purpose going mainstream, one of the first businesses that comes to mind is Patagonia and the grand acts that have made them synonymous with our vision of what purpose-driven business looks like. It's pretty hard to fault Patagonia for that, but it sets an unrealistic expectation, I think, of consumers on what is possible from smaller businesses who need our support more than ever. Small business is the engine room of change that will help us take purpose mainstream. As a small business, I'm glad that one worked. It's pretty scary to publicly hold a mirror up to yourself and question normal, especially when you're not really sure what's going to get reflected back at you. For Heaps Normal, we didn't really look before we cannonballed into the purpose pool, but as we dived deeper, we discovered hidden challenges, and it became clear that doing things properly costs a lot more time and money, two things that are pretty scarce in most small businesses. And a simple example of that is just producing 100% recycled merch. It costs a lot more to produce, and arguably not everyone wants to pay more for it. These are serious topics. I'm a bit behind. But what's the risk of not taking ourselves too seriously and putting play at the centre of our work? It doesn't mean trivialising an important issue. It's an invitation to approach work with a different mindset that values curiosity and flexibility. In some cases, our collective future depends on it. Basic human trust is established through play signals. But we start to lose these signals as adults. It doesn't have to be that way. When we gather together as a community, play can be cathartic and energy-giving. And science agrees. I don't know why I did that. It's actual science. Scientists have discovered that approximately 400 repetitions are what it takes for a new synapse or new behaviour to be established in the brain, unless it's done with play, in which case it only takes 10 or 20 repetitions, and some of you might be aware of this. And in any case, who wants to be part of any revolution where there's no dancing? Oh, there we go. At Heaps Normal, we think about achieving culture change through 3 stages of play: telling better stories, establishing new rituals, and embedding these into cultural codes like language, customs, and community leaders. We recently started a conversation on resetting outdated social stereotypes with our Tough Stuff Shandy release, using humour to tell better stories and highlight the gaps in our culture between what we say and what we do. In our Normal July campaign, we disarmed critics by having a bit of a laugh at ourselves, seeding new rituals that were relatable and human.
Question for you. Would you wear sunscreen every day of the month and then celebrate by getting second-degree burns from the sun? No. I didn't think you would. So for this July, instead of being completely sober and then celebrating with a monumental bender to end all benders, you're saying for a July? Try, drink a bit less. Just one less beer. Don't put too much pressure on yourself and aim for a more long-term balanced relationship with drinking. Just do your best. Celebrate you doing your best. Heaps Normal's giving away a new car.
That's Benny, one of our co-founders. We worked with the Batuta Advocates official dictionary, the Denny Dictionary, to develop fun new words for non-alcoholic beer, arming people with the language to reference changing behaviours and the new world that we're trying to build. This one is the Camo Schooner. You can research it later. We mobilised voters in the lead up to the last federal election by bringing small businesses together to help make climate the #1 issue at that election, and bring strong voices and community leaders together around common language. Nookie, who spoke yesterday and who most of you would have seen, is one of those leaders and an advocate for Heaps Normal's mission to change drinking culture. He generously shared his story at the Normfest in 2021, and we're really stoked to be one of the founding partners of We Are Warriors. So it won't always pan out how you think, but in our experience, it's always worth it. We certainly didn't expect a charity foundation that exists to have a positive impact on drinking culture to be threatening legal action on a small non-alcoholic beer startup trying to change drinking culture. We've called our board advisors with crazy harebrained ideas like impulse purchases of 100 hectares of rural land and been knocked back. We received some hate mail from an accidental Just Say No campaign. Just Say No to water, that is. And we realised that if you present a drunk person with a pen and a blank wall, at least 3 in 10 times, that person is going to draw a penis. Or if they have a marketing degree, a highly effective direct ad campaign. One guy put his dad's number under the words free pizza and then came rushing back into the next session because his dad was fielding hundreds of calls from drunk people wanting pizza. We're not the only ones bringing play to purpose, though. Other brands we admire have wandered into the forest of play and unleashed some wild ideas on the world. Liquid Death is one of them with their recycled plastic surgery centre. Dating app OkCupid with their US election campaign to get voters registered. The Barefoot Investors financial literacy model, and our friends at Who Gives a Crap, who have become known for their cheeky messaging. So big change calls for big imagination. One of my dearest friends, Tom Crawford, from an agency of mischief makers called Dancing Fox, said, "Play and creativity are inextricably linked. Our imagination is the most powerful tool we have, and play is like a key that unlocks the door to our imagination." Seriously important outcomes call for serious play. Let's take the work seriously, but not ourselves. The science says we learn about 20 times faster through play, and it can energise those in it for the long haul by building community and building each other up through play. So we're creating a Heaps Normal foundation to make the donations from our 2% for Purpose fund even more impactful. But what we'd love even more is to make it bigger than Heaps Normal and turn it into a foundation governed by a small group of like minds. Whether you're a small business, a philanthropist, or an individual who just wants to contribute, we'd love to invite you to scan the QR on the screen to express your interest in contributing some dangerously normal ideas for changing the world. And let's change the world by throwing a better party than those who are destroying it. Thanks.
Hi. Thank you so much, Andy. As a non-drinker, I would like to say a big thank you for rescuing me from glasses of tepid tap water. I have a couple of questions, please. You are a mission-led organisation, which means that in some ways your success will naturally lead to a more crowded field of competition. How do you approach that challenge?
It's a great question. We genuinely believe that the more people who come into this category, the more successful it's going to be, and therefore the more successful we're going to be on that mission of changing drinking culture. It's really not about how much Heaps Normal we can sell. As I was saying, it's not all about the beer for us. We just need to sell enough to keep the lights on. But in the short term, it's a great indicator of how much we're cutting through and how relevant that message is with consumers. But it's not the only thing we look at.
Amazing. And one more quick question. You have a lot of fun, that's clear. But could you share a moment when you personally thought, we're having impact, it's hitting home?
There's been so many, actually. But the one that sticks in my mind is getting into an Uber on the way over here and just having a chat with this guy who had a really great energy, and I was, didn't tell him exactly what I was doing in a prawn suit straight away, but he kept digging, and we eventually got talking about Heaps Normal, and he said, I'm actually a reformed alcoholic. I've been 2 years sober. I was a drug addict as well, and Heaps Normal is just the best. And hearing that sort of thing isn't the sort of stuff that we necessarily focus on day to day, but it really drives home, I think, the importance and outside of just the everyday kind of in between a beer at the pub, the kind of impact that it's having across the board.
Pretty amazing stuff, Andy. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Everyone, let's thank
Cheers.
Andy.
Thank you.